G'day, welcome to the next edition of Next Steps for the Church. What we're doing in these series of short videos is just raising some questions about what it would mean to take the Bible seriously and what it would mean then for the shape of the church that we at Citywide Baptist Church are becoming, and hoping that this conversation may be also of use to people from other churches. Today, I want to talk about what does it mean for us to be a family. This is one of the major themes in the New Testament as a way of describing what the church is. So much so that in Hebrews it talks about Jesus calling us brothers and sisters of God the Father. And his brothers and sisters, and relating to God as Father. And there's this sense, and this idea of brother and sister was very much embedded in what the New Testament church was about. So much so you get lots of little references to it, like in Galatians 6:10, where it says, "As we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers." So, what does it mean to be a family? It's interesting that we have the main word we've associated with church over the last 100 years or so has been service. We have a church service rather than a church family. And so, what does a family look like? Well, it was interesting that we see the descriptions of the early church and what we pick up from some early writings about the church from people who are outside the church. I think it was Tacitus. I can't remember who it was that actually wrote it. But it talked about how people outside the church saw the strength of the relationship, so much so that there were the charges of incest against the New Testament church, because they kept hearing about brother so-and-so marrying sister so-and-so. And they would often be calling each other brother and sister. And this is a big deal because while you can choose your friends, you can't really choose your family. And there's a sense in which the New Testament church is meant to be a genuine family. And what makes a family? Well, obviously, there is shared genetics that makes a family, but not always. We have, and throughout history, there have been examples of systems of adoption, and people come into the family and are treated as a member of that family, and that is very much a theme that the New Testament church uses. We get adopted into God's family, so it's more than genetics. It's much more about a commitment, and also in a family, it's kind of this sense of being at home, and being committed to each other, but being able to be yourself, and you have your own space, but people kind of know you, and so I guess one of the questions I want to ask is, what does it mean for a church building or a church facility to be the family home, to be the family lounge room? What does it mean for us to have the same level of commitment to each other that brothers and sisters ought to have to one another? What does it mean to have the kind of relationships that would typify a family, where it's okay to sort of relax and be yourself? What does it mean to have family meals? Because often much life in a family is centered around the family dinner table. And in fact, there's actually a number of sociological studies to say that the healthier families are ones that eat meals together. So what does it mean for us as a church family to share a meal from time to time? And I love this, our Lena Valley mob often head out to the pub after a service and share a meal together. I wonder, what does it mean for us to be the kind of church that intentionally creates space to do that, to create space for relationship. And the thing about a family is the relationship doesn't happen in the context of a task. It's not a meeting. You're there just being you. There's not necessarily an agenda, and there's this sense in which, as God constitutes this new family, it's not just gathered around a service or a performance. It is a gathering of people doing life together. So I don't have any great theories behind this, except I know that we as a church need to increasingly see ourselves as family. And what does it mean for us to look at our physical structures and our social structures and how they help facilitate us towards this journey of being family together, where we can actually see each other as brothers and sisters, and that the same level of commitment that means for in your normal biological family, that also means between us. So this is a question I want to leave for us to be thinking about. What does it mean for us as a church to be a real family? What does it mean for it to be a place where we can be ourselves, but be able to relax and share the odd meal together, and not have to meet around agendas all the time, but just be together and be family? So that's this week's thought, and next week we'll take a next step and looking at what the next steps for the church are.